But is that the word coming in from Sandeep Tandon also or not? The CIO at Quant Mutual Fund, he joins us on the show right now. Sandeep, hi, good morning. So much to talk about. I mean, there's Trump, there's trade wars, tariffs, the dollar dynamics, US equity markets getting a little bit shaky right now. And for us also, the Nifty already at an 8-month low. And I'm not even talking about the damage to individual portfolios and, concentrated small and mid-cap segments. Tell me, as an Indian investor, how is it that you should actually, tune your psychology right now, more importantly?
So if you recollect, I have been talking about last year, the biggest risk was the expectation risk, because last 4 years, right from 2020 till 2024, we have seen extraordinary returns. So expectation level was really high. Okay. And this correction, whatever we are seeing, is a very common correction, even in the bull run, or even if I call it structured bull run or cyclical bull run sort of thing. Also, you do get these 15-20% correction, even sometimes even more also. What is very important is the absolute and relative thing, because we got used to certain outperformance, got used to certain absolute returns, and that's the reason I think the pain point is much more. And obviously, at the peak of the cycle, the risk appetite is highest. The investor confidence, everybody is a long-term investor, and maybe a few months when it shakes everybody. So we have seen extreme last year. Now we are going through other side of the extreme, and that's the way your maturity comes. If you have seen cycles, how you manage that particular crisis, how you deal with this situation. And that's the way I think, a good amount of negativity is there. The buy on dip thesis has gone completely, is completely sell on rise. People are very, very, cautious sort of thing, if I have to call it, the bullish capitulation is also, the thought process is also capitulated. It's not only the position. So that's a typical signs that you are coming closer to a bottoming formation, which is there. This is what we wrote in our fact sheet. At least on the broader market, NSE or BSE 500 is giving you some signs that, we are coming closer to bottom. So nobody has bought exactly at the bottom and nobody has sold exactly at the peak. So I think time has come to nibble into it and see what is very important to understand right now. The biggest worry when Trump took oath or post 5th November was the dollar. Okay. So dollar index has rallied sharply. Now, if you really look at in last, right from his second week of January, dollar has actually corrected against not only the emerging market currencies, corrected against developed market currency. So I think for us, the biggest good news is that DXY is also broken 106 mark also, which means this is a very positive construct for the emerging market. I'm not talking about even in India, because we are part of emerging market basket. If emerging market does well, we are by default beneficiary of that. So currency is in your favor, which was the biggest perceived risk for most of us. And I still believe that from a medium-term perspective, the risk is not over. But from a very near-term perspective, it is showing amazing signs of weakness, which is very good background. Second important parameter is the crude. Okay, being a net importer of crude sort of things, then we are also beneficiary of the weak crude prices. Gold has been very high, which is again good news for India, where because of wealth effect which is there, when your holdings are moving up, your wealth is moving up, then you have a different level of conviction and confidence. So I think a lot of things are in favor of Indian investor. I think some amount of mental balance is required right now to deal with this situation. That's the way I will say, I don't think up to that extent we are negative, up to that extent the way people have given up. I think I'm a very selective buyer, even in the small cap. So we are actually looking for opportunity to participate now rather than getting too much stressed out what is happening to the global markets.
Sure. I completely get your point, Sandeep, about how, there are signs of dollar actually reversing. That's one leg of it. But right now in these tariff times, and, as we speak, there is the State of the Union address currently on, and Donald Trump is talking about how China, Brazil, Mexico, and even India has very high tariffs. We're still awaiting any, significant commentary on tariffs. But the thing is that if all this tariff implementation happens in Canada, Mexico, India, and all other countries, the point is that there will be a global growth slowdown. Up until now, the weakness in India was dollar and India earnings slowdown led. We didn't see a global sell-off as we did in a 2008, as we did in a COVID. What happens then in that case if across the board you see a slowdown in global growth?
See, let's understand Trump's psychology. Okay. Now, if he is going to put such high tariffs everywhere, ultimately he is going to destroy US economy itself because the inflation will go to the roof. Okay. And that's our larger thesis call also. The yields and inflation are in will remain elevated for a longer perspective. But even if I have to look at from a very near term and medium term perspective, a step which he is taking is going to hurt most of the US consumer. And I think any leader will not tolerate rising inflation because generally goes against their popularity votes in US also. So I think it's a strategy what Trump is playing right now, create so much noise, okay, and put so much pressure on the global leaders so they come and settle with him. And that's a way I think is a more of a certain characteristics everybody has. I think he has this characteristic where he will try to destabilize first, shake your confidence completely, and then settle it. Now, if you are hearing a news right from January, we are seeing first February it's getting implemented. Now April has come, and now again some talks are coming that we'll again review it. So I think if I have to go purely from a noise perspective, I think he also knows that whatever he can do it in the initial part of his term. So maybe first 6 months can be challenging. Maybe I personally expect that maybe by June, July, all this trade related issues which is there with US will settle down. That's the reason I said second half will be better or noise will settle down. And I think he's a shrewd businessman. He is looking at his 4 month, 4 years tenure as a CEO of a country. And this all the step which he's taking, which is the larger interest of US in the medium term, but ultimately what step he's taking, he will destroy the US as a superpower status which country has. So he's looking at a very short term and medium term needs, which has its own repercussions. So maybe after this correction which is going on US, and we have been saying from January, the vulnerability in US is highest because if I have to say, complacency indicator is at lifetime high. Money flow towards US equity is lifetime high. These are all clear indication that people are so complacent out there, and hence means larger vulnerability. I have said that the situation we were in July 2024 India, the India complacency was very high, and we got into a minor risk of environment. That's something similar is there in US market right from January 2025, and hence you are seeing this correction. But again, what we have to look at is that if US is going to correct sharply, again the worry comes from our mind. India will also fall accordingly. I personally don't think, because I think India has already corrected significantly, and if currency stabilize, I think there'll be opportunity. And we are also seeing some signs of exhaustion. I'm not saying completely, but some early signs of exhaustion in the FI selling also. So I will watch for the global yields. I will watch for the global currency movements, and accordingly we'll take a call on that in global equities.
So let's come back to India, since you said that the time has come to nibble in.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now. If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.